G'day folks, today in this video we're going to be taking a look at the new Insta360 One X. This is Insta360's newest consumer level 360 camera. It's been out for about a month now, and spoiler alert, this thing is amazing. This is what GoPro should have released with the Fusion right from day go. So let's do a quick unboxing of it and then we'll take a closer look. Okay, so let's do a quick unboxing here. It's got some various information on the side, some of its capabilities. So there it is there. So it looks like we have the battery and the bullet time wire in here. Let's just open that up quick. Yeah, the bullet time cable and the battery. So we have the camera here. We have the case, stickers, literature, different types of cable, micro USB, USB-C, and lightning. So they got all the different types of connectors covered. And another cable. And this cable is micro USB to USB-A, and that way you can connect it to your computer. So the Insta360 One X has been out for a little bit over a month now, and I'm finally getting around to doing a review. I wanted to make sure I had a good amount of time to use it before I kind of talk about it. So the Insta360 One X is replacing this camera. This is the original Insta360 One, and it was an alright camera. It had a resolution of 4K, and it had its issues, but generally for the price, it was $299. It did a pretty good job for what you got. So they've gone ahead and refreshed it. They've called it the Insta360 One X, and this thing is actually just quite amazing. So first of all, when you get it, it comes in this nice new pouch. I really like this style of casing that comes with it better than the one that came with it before. I just found it, I don't know, I just wasn't a big fan of it. One thing to mention, and I actually just did it there, one thing I just really disliked about this camera was that this button on the side wasn't a delayed press kind of button or a double tap to power it on. And I was constantly turning this thing on accidentally. Every time I go to put it away or try and line it up to get it into this case, I was always turning it on. Sometimes in my bag it would get turned on if something pressed up against that button because it's fully exposed at all times. So that was one issue I had with that camera. I'd go to get it out of my bag sometimes and the battery would be dead because it was inside my bag recording. So with the Insta360 One, they've kind of corrected that. It doesn't just power on by pressing the button accidentally. Before we get into the review too much, I just want to talk about some of the physical things of the camera. When you purchase it, you get 3 of these cables, and they're all different. This one here is a lightning cable, so this is how you can connect it directly to an iPhone or an iPad that has lightning. You also get a USB, or micro USB one I should say, and you also get a USB-C version. So if you're using any kind of Android phone that uses USB-C, you can connect directly to it as well. The USB-C cable also works with the new 2018 iPad Pro. So you can use this USB-C cable to connect your Insta360 One to the new iPad Pro 2018, which I'm really happy that it works because I just upgraded my iPad and it would be horrible if I couldn't use it with that. Now to talk about the case here, if you're not a fan of having this neck strap on there, which to me, it's not really that useful. It's not something that I would use. You can pull it off. That's just a snap there. You can set that aside and just use the case. After all, most of the time you're going to have this on a selfie stick anyways, and that way you can just keep the selfie stick attached and still have the case over it, keeping it protected. There's a lot of new features that they've introduced with the Insta360 One X. I'm not going to go over everything in this video, but a couple interesting things to note about the new Insta360 One X is, first of all, like I mentioned, it's 5.7K, so that's even higher resolution than the GoPro Fusion, which was 5.2K. Another nice new feature of the Insta360 One X is that it now has a removable battery. Kind of looks like a GoPro battery. And yeah, so you can have several of them if you're going to be out shooting for the day and always have lots of battery power. You can even buy charging hubs for them, and that way you can charge the batteries separately from the camera if you're a person who does a lot of 360 shooting. To me, the camera has a nice look and feel to it. It's comfortable to hold, And to me, it just has a nice finish to it. I don't like that glossy look that the other one had. I really dislike hardware that comes with a glossy finish because it looks nice when it's not been touched, but as soon as you've handled it a bit, it just looks horrid with all the fingerprints and smudges on it. Now let me go ahead and I'm going to power on the unit. As you can see here, we now have an LCD screen, and we can change every setting within the camera without having to plug it into our phone. With the old Insta360 One, you had to plug it in, you had to mount it via the lightning port to your phone, and that's how you would change all your settings and know different things like that. So we can cycle through from photo, we can go to video, we can go to settings, and from there we can set timers. I'm in photo mode there, and you can see we can set a timer for when taking a photo, which is nice. And we can even shoot in RAW. We can also go in and change the resolution. Like I said, this shoots at 5.7K, 30 frames per second. But if you want to do some slow motion, we can change it to 4K, 50 frames per second, 3K, 100 frames per second. So it's going to be a lower resolution, but you can get that nice slow footage if you want. Now, I'm not a big 360 person, and what I mean by that is I actually use my 360 cameras all the time. I just don't film in 360 to be shared as 360. Now, this past summer, I filmed with 360 cameras almost as much as I did with my GoPro, and there are a couple reasons why. First of all, you can get some really unique shots that you just can't get with a GoPro, believe it or not. GoPros were known for getting those really interesting angles, but with a 360 camera, you can even get angles that you can't even think to get about with your GoPro. The other thing is that I tend to be the videographer or photographer in our family when we're out doing family adventures or just out adventuring. And a 360 camera allows me to be present in the moment and within the videos. One of these on a selfie stick, and I'm in everything now. So when I'm editing little montages together of me and my family and different vacations we do, different family events we do, I'm always in the video now. So that's one nice thing about it. Now when it comes to stabilization for the Insta360 One X, they use a technology called flow state. Now flow state was introduced with the original 360 One back in the summertime, I believe. And the flow state stabilization is actually very good. Now here's a quick clip of our daughter. I sent her out for a quick run with the Insta360 One attached to a selfie stick. Now as you can see, it has really good stabilization. Even though the selfie stick is bobbing up and down and side to side as she's running, you can see it does a very good job at keeping the footage stable. That kind of stabilization just cannot be achieved on a GoPro even when attached to a gimbal. Now here's the same clip as a multi-view, which is another nice feature of the Insta360 One X. You can do a scene from the front and the back lens, and you can just see again how stable it is. So that's actually pretty impressive. Now, new with the Insta360 One X, it is possible to create hyperlapses. They also have a new feature called TimeShift that works quite well when making hyperlapses. TimeShift is basically where you can add speed ramping type of effects. You can go from a very fast video, then slow it right down. Let's see some examples here. So here in this first clip, I just went for a normal walk, just recording video, and then in the app, I turned it into a hyperlapse by speeding it up by 16 times. You can also add a blur effect that gives it that nice hyperlapse type of feel. So now here's another example. Here I had the Insta360 One X attached to the front of my vehicle and just went for a drive down the road. And here I have it at 16 times speed with the blur effect, and you can see it looks pretty cool. So now let's take a look at an example of a time shift video. So I'm going to use the same clip here, but this time instead of having it at 16 times speed, I only had it at 4 times speed, and that way you can kind of see a little bit better what's going on. And I just used the tree as an example. You can see here. As I got to the tree, I slowed it down to half speed and added a pivot point so the camera would focus on the tree as I'm driving by. So those little editing features within the Insta360 One X app are quite interesting, and you can do some really cool stuff. And that's actually a really nice feature of making hyperlapses with a 360 camera, is that you're capturing everything around you. So as you're making your hyperlapse, you want to spin the camera around with pivot points or keyframes. It's very easy to do. You're not set to a fixed frame like you are when you're making a hyperlapse with a GoPro. As I've shown you, when you purchase the Insta360 One, it has all the cabling needed to connect to many devices. So it is actually compatible with your iPad and your iPhone, and as well as Android devices. So I'm going to kind of go over the Insta360 One app and some of the new features, and I'm going to be using my iPad for that because I'm using my iPhone to film, and it actually works very well on an iPad. So there's a couple different ways to connect the Insta360 One to your iDevice. I'm going to be using the 2018 iPad Pro, the new one that was just released. So I will be using the USB-C cable that comes with the Insta360 One. As you can see, it has a USB-C end on it there. If you're going to be connecting it to any other iPad or iPhone, you're going to be using the Lightning cable that comes with it. Now, another thing that's new with the Insta360 One X is you can now connect to your iPad or iPhone wirelessly. Now, you could do that with the old one, but it was only really limited to using it as a remote. But now you can transfer all the media from your Insta360 One X to your iPad or iPhone wirelessly. Plus, you can get a live preview of what you were filming, which you couldn't do with the old one. So connecting it is pretty simple. We just plug it in and then into the USB-C port. Once we power on the camera, you're going to notice the Insta360 One app will pop up right away. And there we go. Now, the only thing with the iPad app is that we do have to use it in portrait mode, which is okay. It works well. So I'm in the app here and I've got one of the videos opened up. So it's just like any 360 camera. You can spin around and, get whatever angle you want. Right now we're in 9:16. We want to maybe switch it to a square 1:1, or most likely you're going to want a 16:9. So anyways, so we can set the speed. Let's just do 16 times speed hyperlapse. So we've got the speed set. So all we're going to do is drag. You can see there it's leaving that red mark. So anything in that red mark is going to be at a 16 times speed. So I'll just fast forward it a little bit. So we'll hit a check mark. But see this tree here? Now say we want to have that in slow motion. Now we're going to change the speed to half speed. And then we continue until we get just past the tree. We'll hit a check mark. And then we'll go back to 16 times speed. And we'll finish the video. So now if we go back, just that part where the tree comes up is going to slow down. It gives you a bit of a preview. But you can see we come up to that tree and it starts to slow down. So that's where we can now add pivot points. To start the video, I'm going to add a pivot point because that's where I want the camera facing. So we click on pivot point. So the camera is facing in that direction. So when we get to the tree, so just before we get to where the tree is, where this blue section is where we slow down, I'm going to add another pivot point. And I'll explain here why I'm doing that. Because when we get to this slow part, I want the camera to spin and face the tree. But if we didn't put a pivot point just before it, it would slowly start to spin way back at the beginning. So we just want the camera facing forward from point A up until we get there. So now we want to make a pivot point where the camera is focusing on the tree. So we're going to kind of put it in the middle there. And we're going to swing the camera around. And we will add another pivot point pointing at the tree. So now, once we get back to the red, where it goes back to being fast again, I'm just going to go down a little bit. I want it to swing back around to face forward again. So we'll add another pivot point. And then I'll go to the end and just add another pivot point to make sure it's still facing the front and it's not drifting at all. So now, when we preview that, it should focus on the tree as we drive by and slow down a bit. Yeah, there we go. And then it should swing back around, back to the front. If you're not quite happy with it, maybe you got the pivot points off a little bit, like there, we could probably move this pivot point back a bit. You can actually delete them just by pressing on it, then move the scrubber bar there to where you want it, and then just re-add it again. Sometimes it's trial and error. You got to do it a few times, preview it, and if you don't like it, then just adjust things. So it's as simple as that. We just made a hyperlapse with some speed ramping in it. You can do a lot of really cool stuff. Now, there's another way we could do this as well. I'm going to go ahead and delete that pivot point that we had the camera turning just by clicking on the X. So that pivot point's gone now, and the camera will continue facing forward. But what we could do is, once we're in the area of where that tree was that we wanted it to track, we could actually click on the tree, and we could put Smart Track. So you can see it's tracking the tree. You can see it comes along and tracks it. So that's another way to do it. It doesn't always work 100% perfect all the time, especially we've got a lot going on. There's other trees in the background, so it does lose it pretty quick. As you can see, that might be an easier option for certain situations. Now, the Insta360 One also has a ton of new accessories. Now, some of them aren't available for purchase yet. They're just labeled on their website as coming soon. One is some casing. They have what's called the Venture case, and it's good. It's waterproof, but it's only waterproof down to about 5 meters, but it's perfect for water sports. If you're in the pool playing, you're doing some kayaking, canoeing, swimming at the beach, case like that's perfect. Now, they also have a dive case, and it's meant for divers. It can go 30 meters, and it offers seam-free stitching, which is pretty good because that's something that most 360 cameras have a problem with. Now, I can't vouch for any of them. I haven't tried them yet. I do plan on ordering them in once they are available, and definitely will be testing some of those products out. Now, one last interesting accessory they have is something called a GPS remote. There's no GPS built directly into the camera, but with this remote, it allows you to capture all the GPS data as you're filming. And that's great if you're a motovlogger or a cyclist and you want to capture some of your rides, a mountain biker. It'll record all your GPS telemetry data and overlay it on the video. So yeah, folks, that is the Insta360 One. It's a nice little camera for the price. It's got an intuitive and feature-rich app that can do some pretty cool things. So what I'll do is I'll leave the links down below where you can go and check the Insta360 One X out further. Just to let you know, my affiliate code will be embedded into them, so if you do purchase one, I will get a small percentage of the sale. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and if you enjoy my videos and my tutorials, it's a great way to support my channel without spending any extra money, and it's very much appreciated. Well, folks, that's basically it for my video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're interested in this camera. I'm going to be doing some more videos on it coming soon, including a direct comparison against the Hero 7 Black. I know they're two different cameras, but they're used in a very similar fashion. These 360 cameras are commonly used now to capture similar footage as a GoPro. And that might help somebody make a decision on what kind of camera they want. Do they want a 360 camera or do they want a GoPro if you're in the market? Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.